Morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, the 11th of Adar. Purim is coming up real fast. This Thursday is Tainus Esther. Thursday night we read the Megillah, and a couple more days. So let's prepare. Today we're starting a new chapter of Tanya, Perek Lamed Gimel, chapter 33. And we're on page 110 in the Chayenu if you're following along. Perfect for the month of Adar, celebrating joyously Hashem's unity, continuing the theme of earlier chapters of how one should be joyous at all times, no matter what, regardless of circumstances. And the Tanya now enlightens us on how the meditation on the oneness of Hashem and his existence and the implication of that enjoying a personal intimacy with Hashem is surely the best way to rise above all challenges and be b'simcha. Okay, Perek Lamed Gimel in chapter 31, the Alter Rebbe discussed various means of arousing joy to counteract the sadness brought about by thinking about your failings or shortcomings, the sins that you may have done. And in chapter 33, we continue where we left off. Another means of leading one's soul to true joy, especially at those specific times when one finds it necessary to purify his soul and illuminate it with gladness of heart. So what does he do? Azai yamik b'machshavtoi v'yitzayir b'sichloi uvinosoi adayin yichuda yisparich ha'amitis. Let him think deeply and imagine in his mind the subject of Hashem's true unity. Can we ever imagine that? No, but just try to imagine it. True unity means not only that there is one Hashem, one creator, but Hashem is the only existing being. Nothing else truly exists outside of Hashem. Let a person stop and consider how Hashem permeates the entire world, the upper world, the lower world, just as the soul. Where's the soul inside of you, Larry? Is it just in your heart? It's exactly. So too, God is everywhere within the body. Howard, hit it. Now, so too, Hashem is found everywhere. There's nowhere Hashem cannot be found within the world. Up, up, down, down, right, left, and all around, right? Also, furthermore, let the person consider how even this world is filled with his glory. Even this world, this low world, not the spirit, not only the spiritual realms, but even in the dark places of this world, in the most difficult of circumstances. And this is what it's talking about when it says that Hashem encompasses all the world, but he's also filling all the worlds with his glory. And how everything is of no reality whatsoever in God's presence. So our reality is our reality, takazai. But in truth, from Hashem's perspective, nothing really exists other than God. Now, how could we get to that stage and point? It's not really possible because Hashem, puts us on this world to be a part of and to influence and to uplift and to transform this world into a more spiritual place. So certainly we're going to see the world around us. We're going to experience darkness and pain. And we feel, if we pinch ourselves, pinch me, am I dreaming? No, it's real. It feels real. It hurts, right, Larry? So from our perspective, yes, it all seems and feels real. But from Hashem's perspective, it is all nothing. It's just the Eibishter. All it is godliness. Literally, it's only God that fills the upper worlds and the lower worlds. Just as it was before the 6 days of creation. It was only God. It was only God that filled the earth and the heavens. And so too now. Nothing changes. Sometimes when we're setting up a Friday night dinner, a Purim party, a class, a shir, and I'm always like pushing in the chairs, and someone will say to me, "What do you care? It's such a little minor detail. It's nothing." So at times I'll step back and I'll say, my reality is that it has to be like this and this and this. But the true reality is it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. What's the difference if it's like this or like that? In a day, a week, an hour, a minute, everyone's going to forget about it. It's like it never happened, right? Remember a couple of weeks ago, Larry? It was wild that Shabbos, right? The next day, we were back here for Shachris as if nothing ever happened. That's what happens. It's going to happen Purim. We have 115 people are signed up for the Purim Suda, most we ever had. And I know it's only Tuesday today. So even though we shut down the page, if you go to the reservation page right now, it says, please sign up for Pesach. You missed the boat. It says sign up for the, it's like a Purim shtick. We said sign up for the Pesach Seder. We're sorry for any inconvenience. The Purim Suda is closed. But the point is that what we think is important, other people go, what are you worried about the little details? Big deal. I remember, whatever. So that's the thing. Hashem is really the only real existence. All the details that we get caught up in are of no importance. Yes, they're important from our perspective, but is our perspective real? So the Alter Rebbe now introduces an analogy which traces the early evolution of an idea or a desire from the moment that it first occurs in one's mind and heart. At that stage, the idea or desire is formless, not having a shape or form of words. It's pure desire, pure idea. Chachma, the desire of an English-speaking person, for example, feels no different than that of a Hebrew-speaking or another language person. It's only when it reaches the stage of application, then you start to put the letters together. And the thought turns into speech. You have to say what it is that you're thinking about. And then it comes out in whatever language that person speaks. So to relate the analogy to the point under discussion, every created being derives its existence and life from the divine speech, quote unquote. It's not really speech like we speak, but that's the way it's described in the Torah, meaning the letters of God's command that created it. So since nothing is outside of Hashem, this creative speech, and there's nothing, Hashem doesn't speak and now there's something created other than him. It's all within Hashem. So even the speech is contained within Hashem in the same way as the words one speaks were previously contained within the desires of a person's heart. All of creation is therefore nullified before Hashem, just as the letters of speech are nullified within the idea or desire, which is their true source, where only the desire is felt and not really the letters. So now that I have his words, he's going to explain and flesh this out a little bit. Machshava, sorry. Machshava. All created beings are nullified before Hashem, just as the letter of speech and thought are nullified within their source, meaning the soul's substance and essence, meaning its 10 faculties of Chachma, Bina, Das, and all the Midos, she'ein bahem bechinas oisius adayin, koidem shemislabshois belavush hamachshava, k'moish yisbar b'prakim chaf v'chaf aleph baruch hazayin sham, in which there are no letters as of yet prior to their being clothed in the garment of thought. Right now, it's just an idea, it's a desire, it's a feeling. Before you even think of the feeling, Larry, I love something. You smell something walking by and you're like, oh, that's tantalizing. It's a delicious smell, but I'm not even putting it into words yet. I'm sorry. Elsewhere, the idea is also illustrated by a mashal, an analogy from a physical phenomenon. When we have the sun's rays and light within its source, it like doesn't exist. You don't say, oh, there's rays now within the sun. They don't exist within the sun, right? It's only when they come all the way down, 92 million miles down, 92 million miles. It's a long way. Comes down into this room. It's a ray of the sun. But when it's in the sun, it doesn't exist. Of course, that ray was there once, more strongly, in fact. Then they spread forth and glow once they come down into this world, into the universe, right? But over there, it's like it doesn't exist. You're never going to say, oh, this ray, when a person is looking at the globe of the sun, the ball of the sun, that fiery flame, you don't say, this ray is in there and it comes from there. It doesn't exist when it's in the sun. For example, what good is a candle in the daylight? Sometimes you're not even sure if the candle's lit. You can't even see it if it's super bright outside. You light a candle, what good is that? If you're trying to get light from it, you're not going to get any light from it. So naturally, the candle is no less luminous by day than by night. It's giving off the same amount of light. But because its light is overwhelmed by the far greater brightness of daylight, it no longer fulfills its function of illumination. At this point, it ceases to be a luminary. The same is true of the sun's rays as they are within the sun. Exactly so, figuratively speaking, is the very existence of the world and everything in it nullified in relation to its source, which is the light of Ein Sof, as explained there at length. So this then is the true meaning of Hashem's unity, that Hashem alone exists and there's nothing beside him. We are all like within the sun, within Hashem. The world, the earth, all the details, the animals, the birds, the mountains, the buildings, the electronics, us, you, me, we all came from Hashem, but we're like within Hashem. If Hashem fills the world and surrounds the world, then we're all like within him, like the ray within the sun. Does it exist? Yeah, in potential, it'll come out eventually, but within the sun, we don't say there's the ray. If you have a huge bonfire and you take a match and you throw it in, does it exist? Somewhere in there, I guess. But compared to this huge bonfire, it's nothing, right? So this then is the true meaning of Hashem's unity, that he alone exists and there's nothing besides him. Listen, you truly learned all the Tanya up to this point. We have to graduate. We learned a lot of other techniques. Now is a new one, but this is a much more deeper, spiritual, meditative level to reach. Steve, we're not novices anymore. Now to reach joy. Beforehand, it was just to push away your Yitzhahara and celebrate your little victories. Now we're already thinking about the greatness of God and how we're all consumed and subsumed by the oneness and the unity of God, and that should bring a person great joy, right? We got to this level. We're going up that mountain as our neshama gets closer and closer to Hashem. So now, when one contemplates deeply at length on this matter of Hashem's true joy, of Hashem's true unity, his heart will be joyous with his faith, and his soul will be gladdened to the point of rejoicing and singing with all his heart, all his might, and all his soul, or all his soul and all his might. For this faith is tremendous when it fills one's mind and it actually constitutes an expression of the closeness of Hashem. I do a shir Monday nights with my chaver, my friends, and we're taught by a very special Rabbi Tuvia Kazimov. It's unbelievable. It's in the Shulchan Aruch, the Shach, the Taz, the Magen Avram, the Pri Megadim. It's like detailed on different halachas. It's unbelievable. And I finished the shir, and I told my son Eli, I was like, there's no greater pleasure than learning Torah this way. Like to be taught by a teacher that just everything just flows, and you're all in. I'm not available on my phone. I'm fully immersed. And he's like, it's a little weird. I'm like, you'll get there one day. It took me 46 years. So here we are. We're trying to reach a level of joy. Yuda, you with me? We're trying to reach a level of joy just thinking about the oneness of God and how we're a part of that. It's like an unbelievable thing. Oh. Scared me. I thought you left. Okay. So now we're almost done. This is in fact the whole purpose of man and the purpose in which he and all the worlds, both upper and lower, were created. What was the purpose? That we should make a dwelling place for Hashem here below, as we're going to explain further how this earthly abode for Hashem is the purpose of all creation. That's what we're reading in the Parsha in the last couple of weeks, talking about the building of the Mishkan. And Hashem says, not that I will dwell in it, but I will dwell in them, in every single Jew, in every single person that opens up his heart, his soul, and his mind to be able to bring Hashem into that earthly, the physical sanctuary. So yes, of course, we have the Beis Hamikdash, we have the Mishkan, the Beis Hamikdash, the Shul, but really it's you. You're a small city. There's a lot going on inside of you. We could zoom in or zoom out. There's, every person is compared to a small city, and in fact, an entire world. Saving a life is compared to saving an entire world, right? So man's faith in the unity of Hashem fulfills this goal. When Hashem's unity is revealed in the mind and the heart of men, this world becomes an abode for Hashem. Hashem is revealed in that person just as one reveals himself completely in his own home. When you're home, you let your hair down, you walk around, you're just relaxed, you're at home. You don't have to be uncomfortable, you don't have to be ashamed. So too Hashem wants a place in this world. And when we think of Hashem's unity, how we're one with Hashem, and there's nothing besides Him, Ein Oid Movadai. There's nothing besides Hashem. And if it's tough. It's a tough challenge. It's a tough avodah, but we got to try. We got to try somewhere, right? Hine kama gedei l'simchas hedyet v'shafal anoshim miskaravosai lamelech basar amisachsein v'dar itay ima b'veisai. How great is the joy of a common and regular, just a regular guy. Imagine the king comes to his house and says, hey, can I stay the night? Think about your own house. Close your eyes and imagine your own house. And the king knocks at the door and he says, I'm staying here. All the security and the guards are going to stand outside, and we're going to bring in some delicacies and we're going to set up some nice, furniture, but I'm staying with you for a couple nights. How does that feel? You're like, what are you doing? No, please don't come in. Thank you. Welcome to my humble home. I mean, let me, I hope it's good enough for you, but sure, come in. Which room would you like? That's for some. So let's say, no, we're talking about like this. We'll make the best we can. We'll try to serve the best meal, and you're gonna hang out with the king the whole time. You're gonna be in trepidation. You're gonna be shaking. You'll be like, I can't believe this is true. I can't believe this is true, Larry. You're gonna go pinch me. Is this real? But imagine the king comes and stays in your house. Steve. So Hashem says, I want to stay with you. I want to be with you. I want to stay inside I want to permeate your mind and your heart and your soul. So how much more so a kal v'chomer le'ein ketzik v'kirvas v'didas melech malchei amlachim kadosh baruch hu. You imagine that the King of all kings, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Hashem, blessed be He, wants to dwell together with you in your physical world, in your mind, in your heart, in your home. The pasuk says, I'm guessing, in Yirmiyahu, for who is the man who dares to approach me, says Hashem, yet in one's awareness of Hashem's unity and through self-nullification before Him, one comes near to Hashem, and furthermore, Hashem thereby dwells within him. And this should really bring a person to great joy. Hashem chose you and each and every one of us. I want to hang out with you. I want to be with you. But you got to let me in. You can't say, no, it's not, let me, I got to get my house cleaned. I got to prepare. You're not going to let me in? If you don't let me in the next few minutes, I'm leaving. Of course, you can open the door, welcome in the king. So today, the takeaway for today is a reflection to bring on joy in your divine service. The purpose of man and of all creation is to be that dwelling place for Hashem. That's within you. And in this world, Dafka in this world, how great would it be that through my performance of a mitzvah, I'm inviting Hashem into my life. Have a good day, folks.